To join me today for lunchtime yoga. I'm Lavonda here at Keep It Moving Fitness, and I am truly just trying to keep it moving, but I'm also trying to stay present in the moment. You know, it's possible to have time off, time on your hands, as many of us do right now, but still be fully present in the moment. I've done a little bit of reading of Eckhart Tolle. He's a spiritual leader, author, and he's very big on this notion of being present in the moment. It's been on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah and whatnot, which I think is where I really got an exposure to him. And of course, I've read a couple of his books, being present in the moment. So I had an experience this morning, interesting experience. I mistook, because I was not really focusing. My mind was off racing, even though on what, I don't know. I mistook Clorox disinfecting wipes for baby wipes and used them in an inappropriate way. It wasn't until I had a sensation that I realized my mistake. So, or Eckhart Tolle, he made a statement of just being present in the moment. And, you know, if you're washing the dishes, wash the dishes. I'm going to say, if you're wiping your bum, wipe your bum. So we are going to take a moment here and be present in the moment. We're going to bring ourselves inward. We're going to focus on the breath. We're going to focus on the movement of our bodies. We're going to let go of any distractions, any concerns, press situations, or any situations. And we're just going to give some time to ourselves. So all you need is a mat or a bare space of carpet and comfortable clothing, no shoes, and willing heart, open mind, open heart. Willing body, there we go. I wanted to remind us to be kind to ourselves. I was just making sure my ringer's off. That's very big in a yoga class. I don't want to distract my other yogis. I want to make sure my ringer is off. We're going to make sure that we're comfortable in our own body and we honor our bodies and we don't press ourselves to the point of discomfort or pain. Certainly you may press yourself to the edge, but we're going to do a nice gentle practice today. So no worries. I'm going to head back to my mat. Now, I generally face you a lot of the times, but you're going to be at the top of your mat, okay? And generally in class, my yogis, they face their mat facing me and they're standing at the top of the mat where I'm facing them the lengthwise so that I can see them and they can see me and I can demonstrate most of the moves. So I'll move back and forth between those places. We're going to actually start on our backs today though, okay? So we're going to start where we're probably going to end also, lying on our backs. So lay back on your mat. Allow the entire length of your spine to come to rest on the mat. Let your legs stretch out and fall open. Let's bring our left hand to our belly, right at our navel, and our right hand to our heart. And soften your gaze if you feel comfortable. And if you're at home, you should feel comfortable. Go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to take just a moment to be present, to center ourselves here, to ground ourselves into the mat. Let's focus on the breath, just the natural breathing. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Now I want you to use that hand on the belly to feel the rise and the fall of your belly as you inhale nice and deep. And as you exhale and that belly button falls deep into the body towards the spine. 3-part breath. Inhale through the nose. Guide that air down the windpipe, past the heart, deep into the belly. On the exhale, guide that air back up, out of the belly, past the heart, and back out through the nose. I'm not going to ask you to clear your mind. That is a futile effort. The mind is meant to think. That's what it does, just like the heart pumps blood. But let's direct our thoughts inward to that breath, to the sensations in our bodies. Now let's push that breath just a little bit more. This time as we inhale, we want to expand that belly and expand the chest as we allow the air to fill all the way up in that chest cavity. You should feel your heart reaching towards the palm of your hand. On an exhale, allow your heart to fall back, your belly button to sink down, and expel that air. Let's take just a few more deep breaths, just like that. Let's push it just a little bit further. This time on the inhale, hold that breath at the top of the breath, pause, and then start your exhale. At the bottom of the exhale, hold that breath out, pause, and once again, start the inhale. Three more deep breaths, just like that. And let's let ourselves return to the natural rhythm of our breathing. Allow one hand to fall away from the heart. Allow that hand to come to rest down at the side of the body, palms down, fingertips nice and wide. Allow the hand to fall away from your belly. Allow that hand to come down to the side of the body. On our next inhale, we're going to bring both feet to the mat. Knees are pointing towards the sky. And our feet should be aligned with our hips. Let's spread those arms out just a little bit from the body, palms still down, pads of the fingers rooted into the earth. And let's start to windshield wiper those knees from right to left. Keeping one hip on the mat at all times, shoulders stay rooted in the earth. Windshield wiper those knees. You start to feel awareness through the lower back, the hips, the thighs. Continue to windshield wiper those knees. We're starting to warm the body with just a little repetitive movement here. Let's do 3 more rounds just like that. Let's allow our thigh to come to rest on the right side. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Even though we hold in asana, a pose, we never ever stop breathing. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. On our next inhale, let's bring those knees up. And as we start to exhale, allow the hips to fall to the opposite side. Hip and thigh. Continue to breathe nice and deep. On our next inhale, we bring those knees up to the sky once again. Now let's bring those arms in close to the body once again. Inhale, release the knees from the earth. Bring the knees in towards the chin. On the mat. So we're pulling the shoulders back to the mat. We're pulling the knees towards the chest. We're continuing to breathe. This Panasana, also called wind releasing pose. So you can take what you want to from that one. All right, on our next exhale, we're going to hold on to the right leg and allow the left leg to float down to the mat. Try to get the entire length of that leg to embrace the mat. And you can point those toes towards the sky. Now let's use the breath here. On each exhalation, perhaps you're able to bring that knee a little closer to the shoulder. All right, let's switch out those legs. We'll release the right leg and bring the left leg in towards the body. Continuing the breath nice and deep and using that breath to draw those hips, the inside of the thighs, with a little more opening, drawing that knee towards the chest. And release both legs down. All right, spread those arms out nice and wide. Palms are down, fingertips, the pads of the fingers are embracing the earth. Let's draw both knees in towards the chest once again. This time we're going to stack those knees over the hips and just make little arcs with our knees across the sky from right to left. Being sure to keep those shoulders rooted down into the mat. And just like before, we're going to allow the legs to come to rest on the right side. The entire length of that leg from hip to knee falls over to the right. Keeping those shoulders rooted into the earth. Now let's gaze over that left shoulder. Hi. Now you should feel a tremendous rotation through the spine here. And it's said that spinal rotations like this are good for digestion. They're also good for lower back pain. All right, root down through the pads of the fingers. Let's bring those knees back up and allow them to float over to the opposite side. Turn your gaze in the opposite direction. Let's gaze up. On our next inhale, we're going to draw those knees back up, stacked over the hips. And once again, draw the thighs in close to the body. Relax the shoulders into the mat. Draw the knees close to the chin. Now grabbing a hold of your shins, let's pull those thighs open, a little bit of hip opening here. Try to rest your arms on the mat as we allow the legs to just naturally fall open. Of course, we're continuing with the breath. Once again, guiding the legs closed. Allowing our hands to float down to the mat, arms in close to the body. And allow those feet to come back down, touch down to earth. All right, drawing the arms in close to the body, palms down, pads of the fingers rooted into the earth. Let's pull those heels in as close to the bum as we possibly can. Feet are hip distance apart. On our next inhale, we're going to lift the hips up off the mat, coming into bridge. Awareness through the gluteal muscles, awareness through the thighs. Perhaps we're drawing those thighs closer together, continuing to breathe. With each inhalation, just get a little more lift there. And on our exhale, let's allow our hips to float back down. All right, we're going to roll over to one side. And using our upper hand, we're going to bring ourselves up and come into kneeling position. All fours here. Wrists are stacked under shoulders, knees are stacked under hips. Our spine is in a nice neutral position. And we're gazing at our mats. So don't feel the need to look at me, just listen to my voice. I will guide you with my voice with some cues here. We want to make sure that our spine is in neutral. That's why we're gazing at our mat. Spread our fingers out nice and wide. Let the pads of our fingers root into the earth. Now we're going to take a nice big inhale. As we inhale, we're going to tilt the tailbone up and allow the belly to drop down. And shine our heart and our gaze forward. That's a cow pose. With our next exhale, we're going to let that tailbone tuck under. Bring the belly button, the heart up, round through the back like a Halloween cat. Inhale to cow. and exhale to cat. Now, here is where we're going to make this our own, because we're going to soften our gaze or close our eyes and just focus on the breath and the movement and the sensation through our bodies. You should be getting a lot of information from your back, perhaps your shoulders. Going at our own pace and listening to that information that our body is giving us so that we know where to push and where to back off during the course of our practice, always honoring our body. All right, let's do one more round of cat and cow here. And settle into table. All right, we're going to do just another slight movement, and this one is very subtle, wagging the tail. So we're going to bring one hip towards the shoulder. Again, it's not a big movement. And then the other. One hip towards the shoulder, and then the other. Let's do that one more time. And back to table. Taking a nice deep inhale. On our next exhale, we're going to allow the hips to float down towards the heels. Forehead floats down to the mat. Child's pose. Fingertips reach towards the front edge of the mat. Let's pause here for just a moment, taking 3 deep breaths, pressing those ribs out towards the thighs as we inhale nice and deeply through the nose. And still drawing that belly button up towards the spine as we exhale. You may feel that breath press out your side body, even radiating to the back. With our next inhale, we're going to draw ourselves back up to table. Now, as we start to exhale, we're going to hinge forward to the mat, drawing our upper arms in close to the body, and pause just before the mat with those arms pulled in tight to the rib cage. Inhale, press away from the mat. As we start to exhale, those hips float back down to the heels to child's pose. We're just going to touch down there briefly. Inhale, let's bring ourselves back up. As we start to exhale, hinging forward, those upper arms in tucked in close to the body like crocodile arms. Inhale, pressing back. Exhaling as the bum falls down to the heels, child's pose. Once again, I invite you to soften your gaze or close your eyes and just focus on the movement and the breath. We aren't coming all the way to the mat. We're just hovering just above with those arms in line with the ribs. Upper arms in line with the rib cage. Let's do one more. And once again, when you finish that round, we come together in table. All right, let's tuck our toes under. Lift our knees, press back through our heels, raise our bum and find downward facing dog. Our heels are aiming towards the earth. Our ears are right in between our biceps. Our fingers are out nice and wide. The eyes of our elbows are rotating forward. Now let's walk the dog by pedaling those heels up and down from right to left, exploring the extension through those legs. It's okay if your heels don't come all the way to the mat. They're aiming there though. Let's once again find stillness, up on the balls of the feet. Great awareness here through the calves. Heels down to the mat. Back up on the balls of the feet. Let's soften our knees and look towards the front edge of our mat. And one step at a time, make our way forward into forward fold. Our heart is aiming towards our thighs. We're taking a nice generous bend to those knees. Fingertips or the palms are embracing the earth. The crown of our head is aiming towards the earth. Let's inhale to half fold. Our hands come to our shins. Our shoulders pull up, back, away from the ears, and we're gazing at our mats. Nice flat back. Exhale to a full fold once again. Inhale, let's reverse swan dive all the way up to the top, bringing our palms together. Let's interlace those fingers, thumbs crossing back, index fingers pointing towards the sky. Shoulders are pulling down the back. On our next exhale, we press the hips and the belly forward, just a gentle back bend. Gaze up and extend our heart forward. On our exhale, we stand up nice and tall once again. Now let's take a half crescent moon to the right. That means we take those fingertips to the right, press our hips to the left. Inhale upright. Let's take that same motion to the opposite side. Inhale upright and exhale, hands to heart center. Thumbs come to rest just at the heart. And release. All right, so you stay at the top of your mat. I'm going to turn forward so that I can see you and you can see me. So we're going to find mountain pose, Tadasana. Feet are generally about hip distance apart, but you want to find a nice stable base. Just like a mountain is rooted into the earth, nice and strong and stable, but it aspires upwards, right? So we want to lift those toes up and spread them out. And then one by one, root them down into the mat. Let's make sure our pelvis is in neutral. So if you think of your pelvis like a vessel, you don't want the liquid sloshing out front. You don't want it spilling out back. You want it nice and neutral. Let's take those shoulders up to the ears, roll them down and back. Arms are reaching down to the side with the fingertips actively reaching towards the earth. Let's inhale our arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're still warming, limbering. Inhale up. Exhale to heart center. And release. Inhale up. Exhale to heart center. And release. Now we're going to add the lower body here. Inhale up. Exhale, hinging at the knees and the hips. Come into chair. Inhale. Power yourselves up. Reach those arms up overhead. Exhale to chair. Inhale up. And exhale to chair. Let's inhale up, exhale to chair. This time we're going to hold here at chair for just a moment. And on our next exhale, we're going to fold forward. Bring those palms to rest on the mat. Soften those knees if you need to. Draw the heart towards the thighs. Crown of the head is aiming for the earth. Let's inhale to half fold. Exhale to full fold. Inhale, absolute. And once again, exhale to chair. I'm going to return to the top of my mat. You stay right there. On the exhale, we fold forward. Inhale to half fold. Exhale to full fold. Inhale, absolute. And exhale to chair. Let's hold right here in this chair for a moment. All four corners of our feet are rooted into the mat. Our bum is sitting down and back. Our heart is still up and shining forward. We're continuing to breathe nice and deep. Finding comfort in the stillness. Now you start to feel awareness through your thighs, through your calves. On our exhale, let's allow ourselves to fold forward once again. Bring those palms to rest on the earth. Soften through the knees. Let's step back with that right foot. Frame the left foot with our fingertips. Release the right knee down to the earth. Inhale the arms up overhead. We're reaching forward with our hips. That left knee is right over that left ankle. Continue to breathe as we shine our heart forward and we gaze up. Let's exhale, hands to the mat. Raise up with the ball of that back foot. Step both foot back, both feet back. Let's find that plank. Now, our wrists are right on our shoulders. Our fingers are nice and wide. The eyes of our elbows are pointing forward. Our heart is extending up. Our belly button is aspiring up. We're pressing back through those heels. Let's release the knees. Raise the feet. The upper body's still doing the exact same thing. Let's press back to the heels. Bring the forehead to rest on the mat. Child's pose. We should be familiar with child's pose by now. This is our restorative pose. Whenever you need to take a break during the course of your practice, child's pose is always available to you. All right, let's inhale back up to table. Curl those toes under, press back through the heels, finding downward facing dog. Let's raise that right leg high in the air, three-legged dog. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Bring that right knee forward. Plant that foot in between the hands. Rub in the ball of the left foot. Let's draw up through the pelvic floor to find our balance. Tent those fingers, gaze forward. Now inhale, raise the heart. Sweep the arms up overhead. Let's lower that back foot, turn the toes out 45 degrees, center our shoulders forward, finding warrior one. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Let's extend the arms out from the shoulders. Shoulders are pulling down. Rotate that back foot so it aligns with the back edge of your mat. Fingertips are reaching dynamically to the opposite sides of the room, warrior two. Staying rooted down in that hip, let's hinge forward with the rib cage. Open that front palm and sweep it up and back, allowing the back hand to come to rest on that back leg. Peaceful warrior. You should feel dynamic stretching from that hip up through the fingertips here along that entire side body. On our next exhale, we bring ourselves back to warrior two. Once again, reaching forward, staying rooted down in that hip. Let's raise that back arm up. Allow the forearm to come to rest on that thigh. Now let's reach the fingertips of that back arm beyond the crown of the head, creating a dynamic stretch from the ankle of that back foot all the way through the fingertips. Extended side angle here. On our next inhale, we allow ourselves to come back up into warrior two. Let's cartwheel those hands forward, up on the back, the ball of that back foot. Step forward into forward fold. Inhale to half fold. Remember those shoulders draw away from the ears. Exhale to full fold. Inhale, up salute. Exhale to chair. Let's hold that chair once again. Bum down, chest up, heart is shining forward. Let's allow ourselves to fold forward once again. Plant those hands, soften the knees. Let's step back with the left foot. Frame that right foot with the fingers. Gaze forward. Let's release that knee down. Inhale the arms up overhead. Now you're going to feel a tremendous activation in the front of that back thigh, because we're stretching our heart forward and our hips forward. We're making sure this knee stays over the ankle. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Can y'all hear that? My dog is snoring over there in the crate. All right, let's exhale those hands down to the mat. Plant those hands up on a ball of foot. Let's come back to that plank once again. Continuing to breathe. The heart is extending up towards the spine, so is the belly button, and we're actively pressing away from the mat. Let's release the knees. Raise the feet. Upper body is still doing its thing. Let's sink back down into child's pose. Inhale up to table. Curl those toes under, press back through those heels. Let's find that down dog. Let's raise the left leg high in the air this time. Three-legged dog. Bring that left knee forward. Plant that foot in between the hands. Inhale, arms up overhead. Let's go for a high lunge here. Pressing back through that heel, shining the heart forward. Let's lower that back foot. Turn those toes out 45 degrees. Shoulders are still squared forward. Warrior one. Extend those arms. Rotate that back foot. Align with the back edge of the mat. Make sure that front knee stays open. Shoulders away from the ears. Fingertips reaching. Warrior two. Hinge forward with the rib cage. Open that front palm. Sweep that hand up and back. Peaceful warrior. On our exhale, we bring ourselves back to warrior two. Let's reach forward once again and find that extended side angle. Inhale up to warrior two. Cartwheel those hands forward. Up on the ball of that back foot. Stepping forward into forward fold. Let's stay here for just a moment. Soften the knees if you need to. Make sure the entire foot is rooted into the earth. Now let's release the hands from the mat. Take the peace fingers, index finger, middle finger, and thumb. Grab a hold of those big toes gently. Now we're pulling our heart towards our thighs. We're allowing the crown of our head to sink towards the earth. We're softening through the back muscles here. No strain in the neck. As a matter of fact, let's shake our head no. No strain at all in the cervical spine. And we're using the breath here, guys. Continue to breathe nice and deep. Expand that belly into the thighs. Feel that breath expand out through the rib cage and radiate into the back. And with each exhalation, perhaps you're able to raise that bum just a little bit more and find more extension through the backs of the legs. Let's release those peace fingers, plant those hands, soften the knees. Let's sink all the way down. We may come up on the balls of the feet. Round ourselves over those thighs. Rooting down through those fingertips once again. Let's lower those heels back down. Extend through the back leg. Back to forward fold. Let's inhale to half fold. Exhale to full fold. Inhale, absolute. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's stay right there with our thumbs resting at our heart. Shoulders are sinking away from the ears. Intentional breathing. You stay right there. I'm going to turn to you so I can see you and you can see me. All right. So here with our equal standing pose here, our hands at heart center, Anjali Mudra. Let's raise up on one ball of the foot. Left side perhaps, or you choose. Now plant that foot back down. Raise the other heel up. We're on the ball of the foot. And plant that back down. We're going to go for a balance pose, guys. So now we're going to both balls of the feet. Now think about pulling up through the pelvic floor here. Any of the ladies know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not exactly a Kegel, but it's in that general vicinity. And what that's doing is allowing us a little more balance. You may also think about rotating those thighs inward. Now we start to hinge at the knees and the hips, coming down into a balanced chair. We've already done chair quite a few times. Now we're coming into a balanced chair, keeping those heels up if we can, and only come as low as you feel you need to. It can be a bar stool or footstool. Now, using our awareness, staying present in this moment, feeling the sensation in our legs, focusing on the breath. On our next inhale, we're going to bring ourselves up, using the power in those thighs, and at the top, allowing the heels to come to rest. Let's release our hands out to the side, mountain pose. All right, guys, let's inhale those arms up overhead. Bring the palms together at the top, just like we did at the beginning. My fingers are interlaced. My thumbs are crossed and back. Our index fingers are pointing up to the sky. Let's press those hips and the belly forward, heart and gaze skyward. Finding the inhale, up salute. Exhale, half crescent moon to the right. Inhale, up salute. Exhale, half crescent moon to the left. Inhale, up salute. Exhale, hands to heart center. And release. We're going to get ready to transition back to the floor. So I'm going to step back to the front of my mat. And you stay right there. Make sure you're in mountain pose. Nice stable base with the feet. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, a swan dive all the way down. Plant those hands soft on the knees. Step back with the right foot. Let's plant that right hand to the inside of the left foot. We're up on the ball of the right foot. We're going to release the left arm up. Opening the chest. Back down. Let's plant that right knee. Walk the left foot out to the side edge of the mat. Let's bring the hand to the inside of that foot. Gaze forward. Extend your heart forward. Now we're going to slide back with that back leg. Feeling the stretch to the inside of the left thigh. And if we feel like it, we can lower down onto forearms. Having a tremendous stretch to the inside and the back of that thigh and that hip flexor. Now that forward foot may rotate out a little bit. The knee may open just a little bit. But try to keep the sole of the foot in contact with the mat. Try to stack those elbows under the shoulders. And keep a nice neutral line to the spine here. No hunching through the shoulders. No crunching that cervical spine. If you chose to come down on forearms, let's come back to those palms. Arms extended. Bring that foot back in, away from the edge. Bring the hand back to the outside of that foot. Up on the ball of that back foot, step both feet back, find that plank. Let's press back to down dog. Raise up on the balls of the feet, soft and knees, and come to the front edge of our mat. Inhale all the way up. Let's exhale, swan dive back down. Stepping back with the opposite leg this time. Up on the ball of that foot. Tent those hands, gaze forward. Inhale the arms up, overhead. Let's plant those hands back down. Plant that hand, raise the opposite arm up. Continue to breathe, guys. Drawing that pelvic floor to find your balance. And if ever you fall out of a pose, just get back in. Let's bring that hand back down to the earth. Plant that knee. I actually have fallen out of a pose, and usually it's the culprit of my hair. It's pretty safe right now, but when it's all loose, it can be very, very heavy, and it weights me to one side sometimes. Let's slide that front foot out to the side edge. Plant those hands, extend the heart forward. We're opening hips here, guys. Opening hips and opening hearts. All right, if it feels right in this moment, come down onto your forearms. Stack those elbows under the shoulders, still extending the crown of the head forward. And perhaps extending that back leg back a little more. We want activation, full activation here. And several points, the top of that back thigh, the inside of the hips, the inside of the bent leg. We have a lot going on here. But we're certainly continuing to breathe. All right, let's plant those hands once again, extend those arms. Bring that foot back in. Hand to the outside. Up on the ball of that back foot, let's step back and find that plank once again. Now we're gonna go in for the real deal here, guys. We're gonna do it twice because I'm gonna give you options. We're gonna bring one hand to the inside, right in front of our face. Bring it into the midline of the body. Drop the knee of that same side. Rotate the foot out off the edge of the mat. Bring the inside edge of the extended leg, the inside edge of that foot, to the mat and extend the arm up. Not just the arm, but reach up through that entire side body. This is a variation on the side plank. Let that hand float back down to the mat. Hands shoulder distance apart. Let's find that plank once again. Belly button is reaching up, heart is reaching up. We're actively pressing away from the mat. Let's bring that opposite hand in towards the midline. Lower that knee on the same side. Float that foot off the side of the mat. Bring the other leg extended with the inside edge of that foot into the mat and reach up. Once again, let's let that come back down. Plant those hands, shoulder distance apart. Fingers are still nice and wide. Come back up into that plank. Now we can do that same thing again, or we can go for a full side plank. Let's bring one hand into the midline. Come on to the outside edge of the foot of that same hand and reach that side body up. Feel your power and your strength here. And you can't help but be present here. All right, let's come back down into that plank. Let's go in for the other side, guys. Are you with me? And let's come back down to that plank. Make sure I'm repositioning myself to make sure that my wrists are under my shoulders. My belly button is inspiring up. My heart is inspiring up. I'm pressing back to those heels. Yes. Lower the knees. Let's sink back down into child's pose. Continue to breathe here, guys. Nice deep breaths. And let's release our child's pose. We're going to come to the end of our practice here real soon, so we're going to come down onto our bums. Find those sits bones. You might do a little rocking from side to side, or if you have a little junk in the trunk, as I do, you might want to move a little flesh out of the way. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Your knees are pointing towards the sky. We're sitting up nice and tall with our shoulders away from our ears. Now, we're going to take the soles of those feet and bring them together. Knees are falling out to the side. This is a bound angle pose. Our heart is still reaching forward. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's just focus on the few breaths here. All right, guys. With our next exhalation, we're going to allow our back to come to sink down to the mat. Maintaining this bound angle. You may want to place your hands at the top of your thighs and give just a gentle massage to those hip flexors, the inside of those thighs. All right, let's bring our hands to the outside of those thighs and allow our hands to help us close those thighs like the covers of a book. Let's make sure the entire length of our spine and our shoulders are rooted down into the mat. Plant those hands, the pads of the fingers rooted into the earth just like we started. Let's draw both knees in towards the chest. Wrap the arms around the shins. Continue to breathe. Perhaps we have a gentle rocking from right to left. Just giving those back muscles a little massage. Let's find stillness here. Release our arms from our shins. Take those peace fingers, index fingers, middle finger, and thumb. Find the big toes once again, just like we did when we were forward folding in monkey pose. You're going to bring your arms to the inside of your thighs here. Now extend those feet up towards the sky. Extend those knees open. This is happy baby. If you'd like to, one option also is to extend those legs all the way out and get a little stretch to the hamstrings there also. Continuing to breathe, guys. All right. Let's bring those knees in once again. Allow the feet to float down to the mat. We're heading into our final relaxation, Shavasana. Now you have options here. You can just let your feet rest on the mat like that. Again, you want to make sure your entire spine is rooted into the earth. Your shoulders are relaxed. You can bring your feet out to the outside edge of the mat and allow your knees to fall in together to support each other. So that bound angle as a Shavasana. I'm going to be here for just a few moments, just closing out our practice and giving our body a chance to really appreciate what we've done for today. Or you can go with a traditional Shavasana, also known as corpse pose. I don't like that term. And let your legs fall out the length of the mat and fall open. You can let your arms rest out to the side or even on your belly and your heart like we started. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. And once again, let's just become aware of the breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Guys, take this time for yourself, with yourself, for as long as you desire. I appreciate you. I love you. Namaste.